Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of About Nothing But Sports. I'm Ashley Baker, your host, per usual. And listen, I know I start the show off like this, like every week, to remind y'all this is my fire guest lineup season. Like I'm in my bag this season. I am in the duffel with my guests, and as I said last week, and I'm saying this week, it doesn't stop. As you guys can see, the beautiful, talented, my sister, Miss Joy Taylor, host of the new show on FS1, Speak, which airs Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Miss Taylor, welcome back to the new. I feel like this is a new redesigned, brand new set. You know, I got the new overlay, got the intro music going. This wasn't even here last week, so I pulled out the big guns for you.
Oh, I love it. No, I really like the intro.
Yeah, so like chill and jazzy. Welcome to the show. How have you been since your last visit here?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. Always good to talk to you. And football season is back. So, the mayhem has commenced in week 1. It's very exciting. And we have a new show. So everything's happening.
Definitely going to get into your new show. I definitely want to talk to you about that. But week 1, like you said, mayhem, just crazy stuff week 1. You're a Steelers girl. Were you already like at the edge of your seat week 1? Like, okay, what are the Steelers doing to me already? It's only the first week. We back and forth. Nobody wants to make a field goal. Like, what were your emotions week 1? And then we'll move on to the new show. I gotta know that first.
Well, I'm also a Joe Burrow girl.
Okay.
So now listen, I love the Steelers the most. But I don't have unrealistic expectations of them this year. I think we know what Mitchell Trubisky is at this point. Kenny Pickett didn't win the starting job, which is not very, encouraging to me.
Yeah.
So I didn't really go into that game. I mean, I expected the, team that just played in the Super Bowl, who I think got better in the offseason. I thought got better in the offseason. The offensive line doesn't really look ready yet. I expected the Bengals to come out and make a statement week 1. And I'm very impressed with Pittsburgh. That was a sloppy, hideous game. No one wanted to win it. Bad weekend for kickers. My God. Awful weekend for the kickers. But, Mike Tomlin is a great coach, and they have an excellent defense that everyone kind of overlooks. We don't really talk about defenses that much in the NFL anymore, which sounds kind of silly because it's a whole side of the ball, but there's just so much focus on the offense, so much focus on weapons, so much focus on quarterbacks, of course, that we kind of just ignore. Like, a great defense can really mess up your day. And that's what Pittsburgh did. I mean, the defense just took that game over and completely terrorized the Bengals and Joe Burrow. And that's how they ended up getting that win, because obviously we all watched the end of the game. Nobody wanted to win that game. But I'm very impressed with them. And we'll see how the rest of the season goes. That division is always a little crazy. I mean, look, Cleveland won.
Yes.
Yes. So
messed up my picks.
Yeah.
The Bengals and because who did they play? Carolina. The Bengals and Carolina.
Yeah, I picked Carolina, and
I thought Baker was gonna have he talked all that trash just to not do what he was supposed to do. So
I'm so disinterested.
I'm a Baker girl. We'll get into that because
I couldn't be less interested. But yeah, I don't have wild expectations for the Steelers this year, but the defense showed out, and I think you can feel really good about that.
And I will say, because the defense looked that great, I think TJ out for like 8 weeks, so TJ will be back. I know.
Yeah, that's a big loss, though.
The defense is huge. The defense is going to cause some ruckus in that division, because I was like, oh, Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. This is the season that's going to happen. I don't feel like that. And now I'm like, I know how good that defense.
I think they're going to mess up some weekends for some people. Yeah. But TJ is a big loss, though.
Yeah, huge. So we'll get into that a little bit more a little later. But I want to talk to you about your new show. So, like I said, like y'all know, I said earlier, this is not Joy's first time on the show. The first time you were on the, what was it, like the wild card preview, like 2020. 2020 season. It was the 2020 season
It
we going
felt
into,
like
we might have
5
been already in
years.
2021. Last January.
Okay.
You have not been on the show in over a year and a half. It's almost 2 years. That's good time. Times fly by so crazy. But the last time you were on, you were with Colin, and now you have spread those wings, girl, and new show again on FS1 Speak. So how are you feeling about that? Super proud of you. I'm always watching. I told you that. I tell you that all the time. I'm always watching. So how do you feel? And how do the guys feel being with the big timer? That's you. Look, let's remember. Let's keep it 100.
Well,
She's the
thank
queen.
you.
She's the queen.
Thank you. Well, it was a bittersweet
Yeah.
transition away from the herd because, Colin and I are very good friends, and we've done the show for over 3 years together, and I think did a really great show, and it grew, as the years went on. So, and it's always a great experience to work with someone that's super professional and cares about what they do, because not only do they elevate you in the show, but you learn so much from them about the process. And anyone who's in our business knows people that really care about the process and people who don't.
Yeah.
And it shows in your work how prepared you are and what kind of show you want to do. And so, I mean, it was a great experience working on the herd, and learning from him, and just, being able to come into work and, know what you're doing every day, know what you're going to get every day. So it was a really great, low stress environment. And we did a great show. But Speak obviously it was the next step for me in my career to be full time as a host. And I'm really excited about it. I think the show's really fun, and it's great to be able to work with Emmanuel and Shady and Dave. And it's a unique format. We're not a debate show, although we do get into some arguments,
Of course. Of
as
course.
people tend to do when we talk about sports. But it's not a debate show, and it's we want it to be young and fun. And we're the last show of the day on our network for covering all sports. And we also, are mostly the last show of the day, last shift before any kind of live sports as well. So, it's kind of in a unique space where we can kind of give some different perspectives on the stories, and, have the ability to have Shady's stories from being in the NFL as long as he was, and
I love the
playing with the
dynamic. I
players that
love
he's
the
played with.
dynamic.
And so we're having a lot of fun. It's totally new, the show, obviously. So the new format will, you'll see different elements and segments, change throughout the season as we, develop the show. But it's exciting to be able to be in that role and, be full time as a host and opinionist, and to be able to do a show that's fun and new. So I'm really excited about it.
So I saw your reel on Instagram, like your last day going into. Did you actually cry? Did you cry? Because I don't
So
think the real show that you cried. I know you was like, I need tissues, but did you cry? This
so
inside scoop right here.
I'm a crier, but I don't like for anyone to see me cry. I'm a Capricorn, so I'm like, please, I don't have feelings. But Colin's a Capricorn too, but Colin is he's very sensitive about certain things.
Okay.
And so obviously he and I had talked obviously about the transition and moving off the show, and it's a process, these things. And so we kind of already had our moment, it was so great working with you, you're the best,
Right.
whatever, and had that cry. But then the day that I was going to go on the show and kind of announce it, it was weird, because I hadn't been on the show in a month, and
Yeah.
So it was already a little strange. But I did kind of start to get nervous and get a little emotional before going up, because when I had done the show, the last show that I did on Herd, I didn't know it was going to be my last show. I just kind of did my normal show and went about my day. I didn't realize that's the last time I'm going to do this show. So it was very surreal, I guess. And I didn't know where Colin was going to go on the show. So I knew if he like started to talk about doing the show with me in a certain way, like I was going to start crying because it's just it's a lot. Like you work with someone 5 days a week. We worked through a pandemic.
Yes.
Our show was the first show to come back.
Yeah.
And aside from all of that, also I've gone through a lot of like personal life changes while being on the show. And the thing about doing a show 5 days a week with with anyone, and or just in general, if you're having a bad day, it really just doesn't matter. You got to go do the show.
Yeah. Yep.
And you got to act like there's nothing going on. I'm not saying like you're forced to do that or anything. Like if I need to take a personal day, I can take a personal day. But in general, like you're going through something, like you got to do the show. So everyone, that's for everyone. So it's like you really you look at these milestones in your career, and you look back on like the moments and the things that you did while you were doing the show, and it really is impactful and important. So yeah, I was definitely nervous, but not in the way that like, oh, I'm gonna mess up nervous. Like I was just nervous in that I'm pretty good with change, and I'm pretty good with transitions.
Yeah.
I don't really get too attached to whatever life is, because it's the only constant, the only guarantee in life is that things are going to change. So I sort of lean into that, but it still is, I don't want to gloss over moments either. Like I don't want to not give them their time and the energy that they deserve. So I was more nervous in that space, and that I really want to be present in the gravity of this transitional moment, not to be melodramatic, but it was important to me. So yeah.
What would you say is like emotional. Do you remember like one of maybe like your favorite segments? I know 3 years is a long time, you know what I mean, 5 days a week, I get it, but there's like a favorite moment on the show that you had?
I mean, there were a lot of great moments. I think the Super Bowl in Miami was a really big deal. Just for me, obviously, having started my career there, and lived there for 10 years. And now here we are doing the show from South Beach on these insane, magnificent sets, in this crazy environment. And it was a really strange week. Not strange, but I should say, it was a big emotional swing, because you're here for the Super Bowl in Miami, and we're about to do the show, and then you get the news about Kobe.
Oh yeah.
And so we're starting the show in Miami on South Beach from Super Bowl week, where obviously, Super Bowl coverage is over the top. Everything is NFL. Everything is fun. And we're in Miami. I mean, and now we are talking all about Kobe. And it's an insane emotion that everyone is going through. And I was trying to find words to just describe what I was feeling about it. And Colin is doing his opening monologue, and I just like can't even look at him, because I know he's about to, break.
Yeah.
And so I'm just kind of standing there, sitting there, just, in this really surreal moment where, somebody who's impacted our lives in such a huge way through sports, maybe in a way that we didn't even realize.
Had no idea
he passed, because, I'm getting like chills talking about it. I just didn't believe it.
Me neither.
I didn't believe it. I was like, my producer sent me the news, and I remember I opened the link, and the link was bad. So I was like, oh, somebody probably hacked the website. Like, it's not like that. It didn't happen. And then just throughout the day, we just kept getting more and more news about it. And it took me it took me several hours to accept that this was real, that Kobe had passed. And, it was really, it was a moment. That whole week, obviously, I was very intentional about being present that week, because those weeks especially can just blur by. There's so many events and so much going on, and people everywhere, and it's just Super Bowl. It's just like a huge event. It's everything's happening. But I had made an intentional decision to be very present that whole week. And then that happened, and it was just like, I can like travel back to that moment in my mind, like sitting there listening to Colin talk about Kobe. And it was really, I don't really have the words to explain the like emotions and the like gravity. You've been in a room where someone's talking and you could feel the energy that like everyone is on the same like wavelength,
Yes.
And so that's definitely a moment that really sticks out
Memorable.
to me, because it was so hard to even talk about, and then to do, a 3-hour show talking about it, without getting too emotional that you can't speak, was really
Was you feel like that maybe that was like one of your toughest challenges on air?
It was very difficult.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was definitely a difficult moment. Another time, not unheard, actually, on Undisputed, was when Jose Fernandez passed. That was very sad. And then, obviously me having ties to Miami.
Exactly.
I talked about it, more than anyone else on the show. And then, just knowing just the impact that he had on the community in Miami was very emotional. But yeah, with Colin, that was definitely a moment that stood out.
Yeah. And you guys are super close, like you talked about. So I can imagine how much you guys just were there. You couldn't process it for a couple of hours. I couldn't process it for like a couple of days. I cried at work for 3 days straight. Like my coworker was like, I didn't know what to say to you. You cried for half the week. And I'm like, I was Googling like, how could somebody I don't know, how can their death affect me so? Like I was like, I felt bad. I'm like, I can imagine what his wife and children are going through. And I'm boohooing like I know the man, and I was like, but I can't stop. Like I just couldn't stop. It was just.
Well, it was
but like you said, that impact.
Things were compounded on the situation. It was
true,
tragic.
Very tragic.
So it was something that even if we didn't know who it was a tragedy.
Yeah.
And then you add, Gianna also passing with him, and the other girls and parents and families affected. And I think we also, Kobe, just outside of being that gave us great memories in sports, we were now seeing him in the second stage of his life. We were seeing him as, dad Kobe, and as, this sort of basketball uncle Kobe.
Right.
And being an advocate for women's basketball.
Absolutely.
The way that he was. So we were experiencing someone that has gave us these great memories in sports in a completely new light in his next chapter. And then, compound that with a tragic death, and just Kobe's, that Mamba mentality thing was real. Like, it's just like, I was like, it's just not Kobe. It couldn't be Kobe.
Yeah.
So I think there were like a lot of elements. I'm with you. Like, I was in emotional.
I was out of it. When I was told, I was like, Kobe who? Like that. Right. I think that was everybody's initial. I was like,
everyone was like, Kobe I don't know which Kobe you're talking about. Yeah.
Like Kobe Bryant. And I'm like, it's given hoax. I'm not feeling it. Like, I'm not.
No, it was like it's been someone hacked the website. Like,
yeah, I'm like, it's a hoax. And then, like you said, I started seeing it on so many media outlets on Twitter, and I was like, okay. And I just cried. And I had people calling me to confirm that it really happened, and people calling like, I'm so sorry, like, because they know, obviously, my business in sports, and I'm like, this was horrible. Yeah, I'm glad that you and Colin are cool like that, because I'm pretty sure y'all like really leaned on each other that week in those moments. So I think it's cool. There's a lot of co-hosts that are with each other that don't like each other. Like, they just there just to be there.
Yeah, no, that's true. I wouldn't push back on that. I mean, me personally, I try to connect with people. I try to meet people where they are. Especially if you're going to work with them every day. I try not to be a burden, not an inconvenience to myself, but I do think, being consistent and showing up and working hard, the basics are important to a lot of people.
Gem dropping joy. Y'all better listen. Y'all bet to be listening. She dropping gems. Been doing it since she started talking. Dropping gems. I'm listening.
But I think when you are working with someone on air, it's important to have not just a level of respect for that person, but that also you don't, you know, make their life difficult. Because there's a chemistry that has to come through on air, and I don't think you can fool audiences. That's what I'm saying. I think you can see when people don't really get along.
I agree.
And I don't think that everybody is like best friends, you know, or like goes to dinner or stuff, or like hangs out, or, you know, hangs out with each other's families. Like, that doesn't have to be the case. But when you show up to work, you know, I want to show up as my best self, and I want to do what I can to support my teammate, which is, you know, the person that I'm doing the show with. So I've always made it a point to try to, you know, be respectful, but also, you know, just not make stuff all about me. Like, everything's, you know, some things are about me, but everything
I feel that.
Everything is not about me. And you know, I'm just kind of I'm definitely a princess for sure, but I'm only that way when I like really need to be. You know, I try to be as low maintenance as I can be, because also your reputation stays with you in this business.
Absolutely.
And it's not, you know, it's not. I think people, you know, throw that word like diva around and whatever a bit too much. I definitely have some things that I'm like, nope, we're not doing that. No, this is how I need this done. But it's all for making the show better, or, you know, making me better at my job. It's not like I need to come in and there needs to be only green M&Ms in this room, and if they don't, I'm not going to do my job. It's more along the lines of like, this is how I need my notes done, and this is the time that we need to start this. And you know, I don't think that is demanding or diva-ish. It's just, you know, we're here to do a job, and we should all be helping each other.
And that's how you do your job most effectively.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you know, having worked as a producer, I understand the background of the business. I understand the behind the scenes elements of the business that make shows happen. And so, you know, that's more along the lines of why I think it's important to try and get along with people. You know, I'm not saying to overlook things or make exceptions, or, you know, compromise yourself.
Right.
If that's what the situation is. If it's a toxic situation, and I've been really blessed not to be in any toxic situations with co-hosts, but I also try to make the person who I work with every day make their life a little easier, and in turn, they have done the same for me.
Yeah. Listen, y'all that are tuned in, I'm gonna try to move to the sports, but I could talk to her all day. This is my homegirl. Like, I could talk and like catch up, and you know, I mean, I might just let this keep going and we don't talk no sports, but I know y'all here for a reason, for us to get into some sports talk. So that's absolutely fine. Real quick though, before we jump into the sports talk, and again, I told you that I was gonna get you out by a certain time, so I gotta kind of state it at. So what's the one take you've made on Undisputed or on Colin's show that you feel like was wild and you had to sit back and like, damn, I really said that? Like, I can't, like, is it any take that you'd be like, yo, I was
like, I was wrong?
Maybe.
I mean, I'm wrong all the time, so I don't get too upset about that. I mean, I bet we're all
Men take
wrong.
note. We admit when we're wrong. I'm just saying.
I mean, it's so rare that it's nothing to get, you know, crazy about. No, I mean, we give predictions all the time. You're either right or you're wrong. You know, this is what we do. If I say, you know, someone's going to be good and they're not good, okay. But if they are good, then I'm going to brag about how good they are. That's what we all do.
Let me give you what I'm talking about. I was trying to bait you in, but let me just, you know, I have my Sports After Dark Twitter.
Right.
They love you. I saw you jump in the other night as well.
It was rowdy in there the other night. I was like, oh my God.
They were nuts in there the other night. That was my girl, Nay. Shout out to Nay.
I'm not getting on this mic
tonight. That was Nay. She was super excited that her Seahawks won because they had been giving her hell all week. Like, you're not going to win.
Shit, though. I wasn't mad at her.
She was talking her trash, okay? So, a lot of people in Sports After Dark talk about you and your love fest for Jimmy G. Straight up, sis. They like
my love fest for Jimmy G.
They are like, you love Jimmy G. They don't know why you love Jimmy G.
No, that's inaccurate. That's inaccurate. I'm getting people are actually more people are actually agreeing with me on this take, but some more people I feel like are upset about what I've been saying about Jimmy G lately. Here's where I'm at on Jimmy G.
Talk to us.
I think Jimmy G, and I think I've been pretty consistent with this. Jimmy G is a good player. He's had a lot of success with San Francisco. I thought, I don't know how accurate this is now, we've gotten different reports on it, but I thought he was a good teammate last year with the Trey Lance situation.
I thought they loved him. Now we're getting like different reports.
Oh. But it seems like he was, so I'll roll with that.
Yeah.
But he's always injured. And sometimes it's someone's fault that they're always injured. They don't take care of their body. They don't rehab. They don't put good stuff in it. Like, they're just irresponsible with their tool. Meaning their entire body.
Right. Don't send y'all mind somewhere it's not supposed to be. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying, because, you know.
So sometimes it's their fault. Sometimes it's people just injury prone. But whatever it is, at one point or another, if you're missing, he's missed 25 games since he's been in San Francisco. So I can understand the frustration of the organization. Like, dude, you are not available. And availability is a important skill. Yes. Talent, then availability, especially at that position. Like, you can't plan your organization around somebody who's you don't know is going to be on the field.
Right.
So my thing with Jimmy G is I don't like when organizations don't go all in on rookie quarterbacks. I don't like it. It drives me insane.
So what you mean? Like, you don't like the sitting for like a year?
I hate it. Now, I know people always bring up Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, okay, one of one.
Yeah. Of
course. Also, turnkey situation in Kansas City, already a playoff team. Alex Smith, like the greatest guy, brought him up. You have Andy Reid. Like, every situation is not that.
Yeah.
Very few, like ever. Yeah. Same with Green Bay. Like, oh, well, Aaron Rodgers, blah, blah. It's Green Bay. Like, they're always competitive. They're a well-run organization. So, you know, I think when you, and Shanahan in the Niners are as well. So if you're going, I had no problem with them keeping Jimmy G last year because Trey Lance was in a unique situation because of the school that he was at with COVID. So he hadn't actually played football in quite some time. So I actually didn't push back on that so much. I understood that. But now you still have this man on your roster. And so every single week we're going to talk about if Jimmy G should be playing or not. And you use 3 first-round draft picks to draft Trey Lance. So no, Jimmy G should not be playing. Unless Trey Lance is hurt, there's no reason for Jimmy G to be on the field. And the reason for it is Jimmy G had his opportunity with this team. It's not like you brought Jimmy G in this year to be the backup and you're like, Trey Lance is kind of struggling. What if this guy could help us? You already know what Jimmy G can do with this team. He's going to win some regular season games. He's going to blow some regular season games. Y'all be a playoff team and you'll win some games in the playoffs. You won't win a Super Bowl. So, I mean, if that's what you're trying to do is just win some games, then sure, play Jimmy Garoppolo. But you drafted Trey Lance so that you could get over that hump.
Right.
And in order to get to that hump, you have to allow him to develop.
Do you believe in Trey Lance from what you've seen?
What happened?
Do you believe in Trey Lance from what you've seen? I mean, he played like 2 games last year. You know, he played in a monsoon the past weekend.
Right. So I don't know what Trey Lance is. Yeah. But I know we're not going to find out what Trey Lance is if you're constantly talking about bringing Jimmy Garoppolo in, or if he does start struggling, you just drop Jimmy Garoppolo in. And then when we're talking about maybe one of the worst draft decisions in the history of the draft, you use 3 first-round picks to take him. Okay? So, so it's everyone's like, well, this team can win now. Well, then don't take a rookie quarterback.
Right.
Facts. What are you talking about? If this team can win now, you need to do a Matthew Stafford move. You need to do a Tom Brady move.
But with who though?
You need to do a Denver Broncos move.
Who were who before Trey though? Like who do you think? I mean, who was? Well, Matthew Stafford was an option.
I mean, I'm not saying that there are all these amazing quarterbacks out there that you can go pick from at the quarterback store. But I'm saying if you are a team that's like you're complaining about, well, we need to win now. Well, what the hell do you have a rookie quarterback for then?
Yeah.
That wasn't the move. You should be trying in free agency to find someone. Yeah. You should be in the Matt Ryan pool. You know what I mean? You should be in that conversation. Don't talk to me about a rookie quarterback not having time to develop because of this roster. There are other teams who do this, like the Colts, like the Broncos, like the Rams, like the Bucks. But don't cry me a river about a rookie quarterback developing. You took a rookie quarterback. Like, this is what they do. Sometimes they struggle, and then they need some time to get it together.
But I feel like it's going to be super dramatic in San Francisco this year. And I hate that for Trey Lance. I hate it for him. The 49er fan base hates it for him.
Jimmy Garoppolo should not be on the roster.
I thought for a second, did you know the Cowboys were going to look into getting him, especially.
I think they absolutely should. I think it's insane. I think what's going on in Dallas is bordering on delusion. And
we'll transition there. Why don't we? I let her give y'all some 49ers talk. Okay. I don't even like y'all like that. So, she already know how.
Y'all need to fix my rep on that. I'm not anti Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think he should be on this roster. I don't think it's good for Trey Lance. And he's done all he can do.
But they need a backup quarterback, though. So what other?
But they can't have a backup quarterback. Not all backup quarterbacks are a good situation.
Okay.
Like, you can have a backup quarterback whose name is too big, but it distracts from.
Like, this would be the same if it was Cam.
Well, not now, Cam. Like, I think.
Really?
I don't think Cam. Because we've seen Cam struggle too much that I don't think people would be calling for Cam to start. Okay. You know what I mean? Okay. Maybe a few years ago, I would agree with that. Like, I think New England made the right decision there.
Yeah. But there was some talks about him possibly going to Dallas too, and I'm like. So let's talk about Dallas.
Okay.
Let's talk about Dallas. Talk to me nice about my squad, sis. Like, I'm not gonna let you come on here and just completely try. I wish there was a mute button because I feel like you about to go in, and I ain't got my mute button from my spaces. The last time the show aired, guys, Dak Prescott had not played. The last time the show aired, guys, Dak Prescott was not out for 6 to 8 weeks. The last time the show aired, they had not just gotten embarrassed on Sunday Night Football. Didn't score a touchdown. Only team in the league that didn't score a touchdown. Dak goes down with the finger injury. He's out for 6 to 8 weeks, got surgery immediately the next day. And now there's quarterback controversy in Big D. What else is new? Now, I'll tell you one. I've been spewing a couple of nasty narratives on social. 2, the Jimmy Garoppolo thing, for sure. I've been giving the 49ers hell for that. Like, he's still your quarterback. Y'all told me that he wasn't going to be your quarterback. Here he is, still on your roster. Ha, ha, ha. He's not going anywhere. And then I've been spewing a really bad Tyler Huntley narrative, the backup quarterback for the Ravens. And I'm of the mindset, well, maybe they don't want to give Lamar all the guarantee money that he's looking for, because I heard throughout training camp and throughout preseason that Tyler Huntley is very reminiscent of a Lamar Jackson. Now, he's not Lamar Jackson. Obviously, we know this, people. But I don't mind pushing certain narratives. And now this week, I found myself sent over Jimmy. Hell, I take Tyler. Anybody but Cooper Rush. Your thoughts on Dallas, man? I have said enough.
Well, here's the thing about Dallas, and I've been saying this for the better part of a decade.
Oh God.
I think Jerry Jones is the best owner in the NFL from a business perspective.
Yes.
He bought them for 140, 160 million.
Correct.
They're now worth $8 billion.
Yes.
He has been instrumental in the expansion of the NFL as a brand, as a corporation. Played a huge role in getting the Rams to Los Angeles. Played a huge role in big brand sponsorships coming into the NFL. Can't argue that. His reputation is unimpeachable when it comes to the business side of sport.
Yeah.
However, when it comes to on the field success, we've reached a point where it is scientific that the Cowboys will not win. And hear me out. It's been 25 years, right? They won 3 playoff games in 25 years. If it was any other organization not named the Cowboys, we would never talk about them as being contenders. Never. Because there are other organizations who've had that level of success.
And we don't talk about them. Correct.
So my thing is, if for 25 years you do something a certain way, and the thing that you want continues to evade you, perhaps you're doing things the wrong way. And let's be honest, Jerry Jones is an outlier. He is doing radio hits once a week. He is giving out injury reports. He is talking to the media immediately after games. He is giving out the game plans. He's talking about what players are going to be paid. Everyone in Dallas knows Jerry runs everything, and he is very involved. Well, you've been doing that since you let Jimmy Johnson go, and what do you have to show for it? Which is really, if you dig into the science of the Dallas Cowboys, where the problem lies. If you look at the coaches that he's had, outside of Bill Parcells, not really anybody who's pushing back on Jerry Jones, and certainly nobody that someone's walking in there like, nah, coach is really the one running the show.
Right.
Well, why does that matter? Because generally an organization has a power structure of the owner, the president, general manager, and the coach. Well, coaches and general managers can be fired if they don't perform to the level that they need to perform. An owner cannot. So other than pride and
knowledge, he's spitting truth,
aspirations,
right,
there is no consequence to how Jerry Jones has run things. And listen, players are happy. They make lots of money. They have beautiful facilities. In theory, they have everything that they need to win. They've drafted well. They always have talent. So what's the problem?
I think
it's right there. It is is scientific. Yeah. Like it is, here are the findings.
Yeah.
I know nobody believes in science anymore.
Yeah.
But like it's there. It's very obvious. And I love outliers, right? I love people that pay their own way and do their own thing. But if there's a way to do things that has proven success, and other organizations are doing these things and having success, and you are not, then the math has to math here. And
well, it's not my thought process is he doesn't care.
No, I think he cares very much.
I'm just talking about the winning. So this is what I've gathered for the last, let's say 5, 6, probably around a decade as well as you have. I feel like Dallas probably benefits more from losing, from being so good, having the hype train, being amazing, thinking that this is going to be the year. This is going to be it. We're pushing. Every year, Dallas has this crazy expectation. And like you said, it's scientifically proven that they're not going to do anything. There's always this crazy expectation from the national media, from the local media, from fans, socials, always this crazy expectation. And sometimes I feel like that creates probably more revenue, more buzz, more of everything versus if they actually went out and won. Because Jerry's pockets are not hurting. There are still people buying tickets, being season ticket holders, buying merchandise, flying to games. They're getting the national coverage they want. My prime example are the Commanders. I'm in DC. One thing that I've always commended their fan base on is Washington has not put out a winning product in quite some time, and their fans have let them like, no, we're not gonna like take you guys not put out a winning product. How? You should see how empty the stadium is. We all know that going to Washington or coming to Washington, there's no home field advantage for Washington. There's just not. And I feel like they are a shit show. Let me be very clear. But for the last couple of seasons, and probably since bringing in Ron Rivera, on the football side of things, they are trying to turn it around. And I don't feel like that happens if fans don't take a stand. That stuff doesn't become national media. Like, yo, like why can we roll up in FedEx Field and the Bears Monday Night Football game is $35? That's
but I hear what you're saying, but I think
what I mean. I don't feel like they're being hit in the pockets to really.
No, they're definitely not. But they never will be because the brand is so big.
Yeah.
So
why change? Why change when we know what his bottom line is?
Why change from that perspective? But also, even in the situation with Washington, where the owner is abysmal, and that's putting it lightly, he's not, at least to my knowledge, maybe I'm speaking from a place of ignorance, but I've not been under the impression that he's meddling in the football side of things. He's just run the team so poorly that it's spilled over into the football side of things. Okay. I know they've had some GMs who have been in some of the, those conversations
that
have gone badly, but Jerry's involved. You know what I mean? So like, that's the difference. Jerry's the owner. And so I believe in hiring people to do their job and then letting them do their job. Real strong leaders know how to delegate. And I think that Jerry had the early success. And I do think he cares about winning. I mean, he pays the players, he puts together the facilities, he does everything that that would lead to winning. You know what I mean? It's a great place to play. It's a great organization to be a part of. It's not like a toxic place, comparatively to like Washington. But to me, the margin of difference is Jerry's involved, and Jerry is never going to be held accountable for when things don't go well because he's the owner. So to me, like there's a lot of talk now, obviously, to circle back to this season, about what they were putting on the field this year and what would be expected of that wide receiving core. I did not think that Dallas was going to be good this year. I think the Eagles will win the division. This is before Dak got hurt. And I love Dak. I'm a Dak girl.
Yeah.
That game was awful before Dak got hurt. That was bad. It was about as bad as it could go for Dallas. Everything that we feared was coming true about the Dallas Cowboys roster and season. The defense looks amazing. Micah is unbelievable. And the offense still can't run the ball. Offensive line still looks shaky. There's no weapons, right? So my question is, what is going to happen after this season? Because Dak, even if he's back in 4 weeks, their season is essentially going to be over if they roll out Cooper Rush. Yeah. You can have one outlier game with a backup quarterback because no one has tape on you or whatever. It's the NFL, things happen.
Right.
But you're not going to, you have 2 divisional matchups coming up. The Giants won. Okay. Right. I don't believe in Carson Wentz, but Washington won. You have both of those coming up.
Won this week.
You have the Bengals coming off of a bad loss, a bad in-division loss. And then you have the Rams. So optimistically, and Jerry's being very optimistic about this, let's say Dak is back for the Rams game. They weren't winning that game even if Dak was out there. Okay? So this is a fractured thumb.
Yes.
I'm not Dak. I'm not his doctor. I'm not Jerry. Maybe he comes back. Yeah. I don't think he will. Whatever if I'm wrong. Okay? You feel like you're going to be going into that game with multiple wins stacked up? I don't. And you can't afford to lose division games.
Yeah.
So let's say the season plays out the way that I think it will, which means Dallas is not going to win very many games, and Dak will probably miss a significant amount of time. And considering as they're not going to go get Jimmy Garoppolo or Mason Rudolph or Tyler Huntley.
And you think that's a mistake that they certainly should have went and gotten?
I don't know how you go into a season without a backup quarterback. And these are the things that like you would ask a GM or you would ask a coach. Why don't y'all have a backup quarterback? You don't need somebody who's played in a Super Bowl, or you don't need Joe Flacco. Okay, there's not that many great backup quarterbacks, but you don't have a backup quarterback. Cooper Rush is on the practice squad. That's not a backup quarterback. I'm talking about a backup quarterback. You don't have one. You have Will Grier and Cooper Rush, who are on the practice squad. Okay, so don't pitch this.
I don't know what they were. I don't. You see how they put me in positions I can't even like fight for them. I don't know what to
These are
say.
legitimate
Like,
questions. Like, it's
yeah,
not even being hyperbolic here. Like, that's crazy. That's not good
yeah,
business,
yeah,
right? So yes, I think it's crazy that they wouldn't bring in someone who
yeah,
Dak is not going to lose his job. So who cares?
yeah,
Give up an asset and make sure that you don't go into Dak coming back with one win.
yeah.
Your season's over. So now what happens? Is Mike McCarthy going to keep his job after this season?
That's
Let's say,
that's a deep question.
barring some miracle, okay, they have a bad season. What now? So obviously the conversations around Sean Payton going there. But here's the thing. If I'm Sean Payton, I'm used to being the guy. So if I'm going to take a job with Dallas, am I going to get the Dallas Cowboys, or am I going to get a role within the organization where Jerry still runs everything? Because if I was Sean going into that situation,
Sean is certainly not going to be that yes man anyway, like that.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Listen, I have a lot of respect for Sean Payton. I think he's a great coach and a good person and has a great legacy in the NFL and will coach again. But if I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys job as someone like Sean Payton, I'm going in like, listen, I want to take over this organization. I want to make this into an organization that wins in the postseason and competes for a Super Bowl. But I'm not taking, and I've proven I can do that.
Yeah.
I'm not taking this job unless the radio hits stop. The only time that you talk to the media is like every other owner does at the beginning of the season and at the end of the season. I have absolute final say on all roster decisions. I will collaborate with you guys on big payment decisions, obviously, and all that. You handle signing the checks, which is what you're supposed to do as an owner. This is my team. Any and all questions will be directed to me.
So what you saying is Sean Payton ain't coming? Because if
he might, but to me, if I'm in that situation,
right,
I need to be the guy, and I need to be, and I want this also, so that I'm held responsible for the wins and losses.
Facts. That's fair.
So there's a real judgment factor here of the products that we're putting out there.
Yeah.
So there won't be any confusion with the fans as to who is responsible for this. And if we win a Super Bowl, like Jimmy Johnson did, yes, I will get some of the credit. But you will also get another ring.
I just want one more. I don't remember what it was like for Dallas to win those Super Bowls. I was young. My mama got those glory days, not me.
My mom is a Cowboys fan.
Right, I know. That's you gotta make sure me and mom meet each other because that's a smart woman. I don't know,
and her frustration,
Miami and the
I have no attachment to the Cowboys other than I cover them and I love the brand, obviously, because I like big brands and big stories. But the frustration spills over to me. But I like from a real,
you get the frustration calls from her,
yeah, and texts. But from like a real perspective, like I have so much respect for Jerry Jones as a businessman. I think it's fascinating what he's been able to do. And the fact that he has the biggest brand in all of sports without the postseason success over the past 25 years, by the way, is a fascinating case study to me, because it really is remarkable what he has done to build that brand into the biggest brand in the world. People get mad about talking about the Cowboys, which I understand, but I'm like, listen, the numbers are there every single year. They're bigger than any international football club, any baseball team, any basketball team, nothing. It's the Cowboys every single year. And there's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see the Cowboys have some postseason success, honestly, because we talk about them so much. I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
But to me, I think it's an outlier that has been experimented with for a quarter of a century. And we have the evidence that it does not work.
The tough, hard truth.
Thank you for coming to my Cowboys TED Talk.
I was about to say, I don't think I would have muted you even if I had the option to mute you, because you were, that's real. You was giving it for real. I get that. So let's hit on this, and then I'm gonna let you go. What game are you looking forward to most this weekend?
Really, I'm actually looking forward to the Thursday night game.
Me too.
Because
who you got winning? So by the time y'all hear this is the night. This is the next morning because I'm dropping the show tomorrow morning, Friday morning.
Okay, so I really don't have.
So let's see if we got some Joy Stradamus going on.
I'm picking the Chiefs just because they're at home.
Okay. Yeah, that Arrowhead thing.
But I honestly,
Mark Gunnels, he has been getting on my. Mark. He has been driving me in.
Listen, the Chiefs look good.
They played the Cardinals.
Come on. No, I mean, come on. I didn't think the Cardinals were that bad.
I knew that they would be this bad without DeAndre Hopkins. I saw the way they were last year without DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah,
it wasn't hard to determine.
I don't have any conviction about the AFC West. I don't know. I know that the Broncos better get their shit together. Yes. But I say that I said this before the beginning of the season. I love Justin Herbert. I think he's an incredible talent.
Okay.
But you're judged by your peers, and he doesn't have a winning record. And Joe Burrow just played in a Super Bowl.
I really love Justin Herbert, though.
I do too. Yeah. It pains me, but they have to make the playoffs this year, sis. It's time.
To be fair, Brandon Staley is the reason they did not make the playoffs last season.
Listen, I was arguing about this on the show yesterday because Brandon Staley came up and everyone was like, "Oh, like he's a good coach." I'm like, "Do we know Brandon Staley's a good coach? Do we know that? Because I don't know that.
I didn't see that. I saw him cost them at least 3 games.
And
where those games weren't costing.
Bad.
Yeah, where those games, if 1 or 2 of those games are not the fault of Brandon Staley, then they don't end up in this timeout shootout at the end of the year with the Raiders. Correct. So if Brandon Staley can do a better job at coaching, I expect this is one of my expectations for tonight's game. The same thing he did in the first matchup with the Chiefs last year. He was very aggressive. I think he's going to be very aggressive again this year. So
I think the aggressive stuff is what got him in trouble.
Yeah, but you only be aggressive with the Chiefs. Don't be aggressive with nobody else. Don't be aggressive with nobody else.
I don't have any real conviction about the game. If the Chargers won,
you'd be okay.
Great. I won't be terribly surprised. I think the Chiefs look really good, but I really can't give a convicted prediction there. Yeah. I do want to see, obviously, how the Steelers look against the Patriots. I want to see if the Steelers play the Patriots at home.
Y'all might win that game.
I picked the Steelers to win that game.
Okay.
We shall see.
Okay.
I'm looking at the games now. Bucs Saints is obviously also very interesting because they smoked the Cowboys, but they struggle with the Saints.
Brady struggled with the Saints. I think
but it's not the Sean Payton Saints.
That's what I keep. Go ahead. So I hope everybody from Sports After Dark is listening to Joy Taylor, because y'all praise Joy Taylor and her takes, and y'all love what sis say, and that's cool because she's dope. But I say a lot of the same stuff. I be saying a lot, and y'all be acting like I'm crazy. Sean Payton is not walking through the tunnels with y'all on the field.
There are, the games this weekend, there's not a lot of big marquee games. Bears Packers, everyone expects the Packers to bounce back against the Bears.
Right.
I think they will. But I'm looking at the games right now.
It's not a good week.
It isn't, but there's so many interesting games. I really want to see what happens in the Giants-Panthers game. I really want to see what happens in Dolphins-Ravens.
Oh, that's going to be so good.
I really want to see what happens in Niners-Seahawks. And I really want to see what happens in Bengals Cowboys.
Why?
Because I gotta see if the Bengals bounce back, and I gotta see what Cooper Rush is gonna do and how bad this is.
No.
But Monday night is a real game. Monday night is Vikings Eagles, and I think that's gonna be a great game.
Well, for the sake of me being in the same division as them, I hope that the Vikings smoke them. Honestly, respect.
The Vikings look very good.
They look good.
And the Eagles
still Kirk Cousins. I need people to pipe it down with the Kirk Cousins.
I think they're a playoff team, and Kirk could win a playoff game. I don't ever trust Kirk in prime time and in the big moments, but Kirk is a perfectly acceptable starting quarterback.
You think he's better than Dak Prescott?
Is he better than Dak Prescott?
Mm-hmm.
No,
that's an ongoing conversation in these Twitter spaces.
I don't think so.
Dak Derek Carr and Kirk. They bunched them together and like say that they're on the same
Derek
tier of
Carr
quarterback.
is more. I think Derek Carr is slightly more talented than Dak Prescott. And I've seen him elevate really bad situations, so I have to give him credit for that. Okay. Kirk Cousins I don't really trust in prime time, but this year I think will be very interesting because they have great weapons and they have an offensive head coach now. So I want to see what happens with the Vikings this year. I was not very high on them preseason. Colin was very high on the Vikings, but that was a big win they got against the Packers. So that's why I'm very interested to see how this goes against the Eagles, because the Eagles I have winning the division, and they played a really strong game against the Lions on the road. And good for the Lions. Congrats to the Lions.
They definitely was giving the Eagles some problems there. I didn't know what was going to happen. They gave a little pushback. I don't know if Hard Knocks has anything to do with it. They were knocking. But listen, I'm not trying to be biased because they're in my division, but I also don't like the fact that they let up. It was 21 unanswered points as well by the Eagles. Like,
I mean, week one is always a little fluky. Week one's always a little fluky. That's why I'm really interested to see
week two.
This week where there's not really like that many big games, but I want to see how these teams that won that I was like, how they look in week two. Yeah. So it's gonna be a fun week. But yeah, this is Cowboys Bengals. Oof.
Yeah. If Dallas can pull that off, oh my goodness. Oh my God, I will say this. I'm already predicted. I would say that Micah's going to get 2 to 3 sacks on Joe for sure. Like the way their offensive line looked, unless they pull it together some way, somehow, Micah's going to, I've predicted at least 2 sacks on Brady last week. He got that. I'm predicting the same with Joe Burrow because that offensive line is not what we thought it was supposed to be. I thought that it was better.
Micah will get 2. But I don't, man.
Oh man, look, Jamar Chase is gonna eat. I'm nervous.
Yeah, that Cowboys offensive line is looking a little shaky too. So
Poor Cooper Rush. So y'all heard it. She's going with the Chiefs tonight. She can't wait to see those games on Sunday. I'm gonna let you go, sis. I could talk all night, but we definitely trying to watch the game. I kept you on longer. Listen, guys. Don't let this fool you. I'm typically a really good producer at wrapping up and doing all this, but me and sis, it's been a minute. We definitely had to chop it up. And I really, really appreciate you. If you want to talk about anything you have going forward, drop your, where people can find you on social. That would be great.
Well, obviously check out the show, please. Speak on FS1 at 4:30 p.m. Eastern and follow our socials. And myself on social at Joy Taylor Talks. And yeah, you can just catch me around dropping in the Sports After Dark Twitter
Spaces. Just be dropping, just a casual drop in. Again, it was so rowdy the other night. I'm like, okay, y'all, calm
rowdy. I mean, I can't wait I'm very excited to see how the Seahawks look against the Niners because everyone wants to bench Trey Lance.
If they lose to the Seahawks, it's going to be smoke in the city. In San Fran, the Bay Area if that's gonna be they're gonna.
I'm gonna be on an island defending Trey Lance if they lose to the Seahawks. So I really needed the Niners to come through. But it's
Bay Area. You hear George?
It's in San Francisco though, so
yeah. But you know what? And then we'll go.
But that matters because the 12s were showing out in that game. That was like one of the loudest games I've ever watched on TV.
Yeah, they were
crazy.
It was crazy.
It was so loud there. Yeah. So
and to Trey Lance defense, Debo dropped a ball as well. Folks was fumbling. It was a monsoon again. We know this, but we can't act like that. It was all Trey. It wasn't just all Trey. There was some other folks.
But they make it seem like. We're like, the water affected. The Bears are playing in the water too.
That's what I said.
Justin Fields had a terrible stat line.
That's what I said.
Somebody won the game and somebody lost. It wasn't like this was like some all-time performance by the Chicago Bears offense, and we're making excuses for Trey Lance. Congrats to the Bears. Nice win.
Yep.
Totally be proud about it. I love Justin Fields. I love seeing him.
I love that for him. I love that.
I love that for him. Fly money. But let's not get crazy about what happened.
Calm down.
calm down. It was a swimming pool. And luckily it didn't end in the
When
top.
you said that, I was cracking up. When I saw you say that, I'm like, it was a swimming pool. It was literally monsoon. Like they literally had to sweep.
It was
like,
a
push the
pool.
water
Like there
off.
was like this much water. It was
a
not. It shouldn't have
lot.
even been played, honestly. So like I'm just not taking a whole lot of
Yeah.
information from that game.
Yeah.
Now
This
at home,
because see, they're in San Fran.
yeah, they're in San Fran.
Oh, okay. Nice, clear, sunny skies. So Trey Lance better bring it. So 49ers, Seahawks, Cowboys, Bengals, Eagles, Vikings. You want to see tonight's
Steelers,
game?
Patriots,
You
Dolphins.
want to see every game, sis. You just say you want to see.
Yeah, I am gonna be watching every game. But I think honestly though, I think that the Bills are gonna smoke the Titans. I think the Broncos are gonna win against the Texans.
People are mad at me because I feel like that the Bills could win 13, 14 games.
I picked the Bills to win the Super Bowl and Josh Allen to win MVP. So yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm never going against Brady, so I picked the Bucks.
Well, yeah, we'll see. That's why I want to see this week.
Week two
is like what week one should be, because week one is like fluky. People are still getting their legs under them and all that. Week two is like
so many quarterbacks didn't even play in preseason, and like 8 of those quarterbacks did not win. I did see that stat line. So yeah, we got some catching up to do. This. Well, I don't have a dog in any fight at this point. Dallas gonna be Dallas. It is what it is. But thank you for tapping in to About Nothing But Sports. Always answering the bell for me, man. I really appreciate it. You guys make sure that you follow me as well on social, Ashley Baker _21 on Twitter and on Instagram. Ashley Baker on Facebook. But for real, if you're not family, I don't. Family Facebook is like a family thing now. Like keep in touch with your family members and all that. But I'll go on and update y'all, of course. So sis, we will talk soon. I will see you in these Twitter and social media streets.
Yes, and yes, we will connect. Thank you for having me on. Always proud of you.
Thanks.
Love you bunches, and I don't want to hear from any Cowboys fans. And you need to correct my rep.
No. You need to come in there and correct your rep.
Fine, I will. I will set the record straight.
But why won't you do it at the perfect time? Come and correct it when I say to correct it. Like once Trey Lance go like 0-3. Oh my gosh! Like if Trey Lance go 0-3, this girl, you have no like these people be crazy. They're crazy. But
who are the Niners playing the week after? Ooh, the Broncos.
Who?
The Broncos.
But they got PTSD against Russ. The 49er fans, they have Russ on like this pedestal that nobody else in the league is aware of because he's kicked their asses so much when he was a Seahawk. So they'd have They have Russ PTSD for sure. Like a lot of them aren't going to be.
The Broncos got to get it together. They look terrible.
Yeah, it was week 1 though, like you said.
Yeah.
All right.
We're just gonna keep talking.
I'm gonna let you go. You guys know the vibe. Thank you so much for tapping in, tuning in. Same place, same time next week. Again, Joy Taylor. Thanks for tapping in, sis. In the meantime, in between time, guys, see you on the timeline. See you later.
Bye.